Hi, Josiah Middaugh here with Team Synergy. Also here with Coach Cal from Canada, and we've got our guest, my son Sullivan Middaugh. um, so,
For having me.
Sullivan, welcome.
Thanks.
Cal, good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you guys.
So, Sullivan, you've been around Synergy for a long time. I think I could probably dig up some photos of you and your little Team Synergy wetsuit from probably your very first open water swim, your very first Xterra, your very first triathlon. So you've been around the sport a long time and you've been around Synergy a long time. So what does it mean to you to be a part of Team Synergy now officially?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it means a lot. I mean, my first mountain bike shorts were the Team Synergy tri shorts, and then my first open water swim was in a Synergy wetsuit, and so I think it's just really awesome to be around the brand for a while and to really be a bigger part of it now.
Yeah, they've kind of been your silent sponsor for a while. So we're making it official today.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty early on that Stefan said, I'm happy to sponsor you, Josiah, but I'm really interested in your kids. So he was the early talent identifier.
It's all about looking good. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I've always said for a long time that training is really an adult form of play. So you've transitioned now from just playing, which happened to be in the Synergy outfit, and now you're actually training now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sullivan, I've seen your development over the last 3 to 5 years now, and super impressed again with your commitment and your passion towards multi-sport. Now, tremendous success, but it sounds like as you're getting older and more mature in this sport, more opportunities are blossoming. And so I've heard that you've been accepted as part of this Project Podium in Arizona State. Quite a quite an accomplishment to be again chosen for that project. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how that came to be and your thoughts on this project?
Yeah, totally. I mean, so Project Podium is an elite development program for mostly college-aged guys. It's triathlon is an NCAA sport for women, and so they've been doing really well at the Olympic level, and so this program has a goal of medaling at Olympics, and in kind of there's the collegiate recruitment program, which gets athletes after college, but this is more of a kind of college aged program. Yeah, it was kind of crazy how it came about. Is I was at the Xterra Worlds in Maui in 2021, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really think triathlon was really a like a path for me, but I met Parker there, my coach, and yeah, and that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah, that's exciting when you get that opportunity again to use your skill set and your passion potentially now to even further yourself in education and also open the door, like you just said, to a potential Olympic berth representing the USA. So I suspect that this is your first step. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Nice. That's super exciting. I wish Josiah and I were wishing that we were your age and we had those opportunities when we're in our late teens, early 20s, because we were pioneers. We never ever had these opportunities. So kudos to you. Wow, that's exciting.
Thanks.
Yeah, for the longest time, a lot of the elite triathletes were all coming from a single sport background. And
Hmm.
so now what you see at the elite ranks are, triathletes that grew up being triathletes. And so it's kind of interesting to see the evolution, but then also to see um, almost it coming full circle where draft legal is kind of recognizing that some of these off-road triathletes um, are pretty good and bring a different kind of skill set, the skills on the bike and the power on the bike. And then you see some of the best performers in Xterra are at the very pointy end of draft legal racing too, with Flora Duffy, Hayden Wild,
Yep.
Seth Ryder. And really it, from the beginning of triathlon, that was kind of the goal of Xterra, was to see, well, who would be the best? Would it be a road triathlete? Would it be a mountain biker? Um, would it be a long course athlete? Let's all throw them into this event called Xterra and see who comes out on top. And so for a very long time, we've had gold medalists from the Olympics come and race Xterra. So it's pretty cool to see now the development looking like, hey, well, what if we had, somebody from Xterra? Could we give them just the skill set to do well in draft legal? So it'll be an interesting experiment.
Yeah,
so
I would
along
agree.
those lines, Sullivan, how is that going to work with kind of juggling these different disciplines of triathlon?
Yeah, totally. I mean, for my race schedule at least, it kind of worked out well where a lot of my draft legal racing is kind of early season, and kind of my triathlon, or sorry, the Xterra side is later. Um, and I mean, as far as kind of getting on the trails, I mountain bike easy every once in a while, and so yeah, it's a good crossover.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Josiah, you made the point is that this might be one of our first times we've ever seen an Xterra athlete actually coming from that off-road background into, like you said, the ITU circuit. We very rarely see that versus the other side, versus coming from road into off-road. So this is really exciting, and we're keeping an eye on you there, Sully. See how it all shakes out. You're tougher than those other people. Your Xterra is way harder.
Yeah, a big thing they talk about is resiliency and longevity. And I think if you can stay interested in the sport, that's only going to be a benefit. We don't want any burnout. We want to have fun too.
Yeah, and we have seen quite a few cyclists, pure cyclists, coming from a cyclocross or even a mountain biking background and do extremely well on the road. So this is not so-called uncommon, but in our sport, you're probably one of the founders in terms of making this transition from off-road to road, which is going to be pretty impressive. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this all shakes out for you. And hey, now last year you had your debut as a pro athlete at Beaver Creek. Is that correct? That was your first ever pro race. And
Yeah,
my part B would be this. Apparently you went head to head with your dad on this race. So tell me a little bit about how you felt going into your first pro race. And secondly, what your thoughts were battling your dad for a national title.
yeah. So yeah, last year was Xterra Beaver Creek, which Xterra made it the national championships. It was the first time it was going to be the national championship. So the race was in my hometown, so I got home soil, good advantage there, and so it was a good race to start with to be elite. And yeah, I mean, I had racing my dad for the first time, pretty much in a triathlon, and so yeah, that was awesome.
Pretty
Wow.
interesting how the stars aligned on that one. Well, just even with you racing on trails that you grew up on. And
Hmm.
I've always said, when people say, how hard is Xterra Beaver Creek? And I said, well, for the locals, it's just their local mountain bike race and
Yeah.
local 10K trail run. There's nothing, too exotic or too demanding about it. But, for people coming from other places, it's a monster of a course. So that wasn't an obstacle you had to overcome. You're just out having fun on your local trails.
Yeah, totally.
And I can only imagine what that morning breakfast was like with both of you sitting at the table, knowing that you're going to go head to head. and here it's Sully's first pro race. I can't imagine the silence and the tension that was going on at your local house there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, for several years it was kind of like, these little ducklings following me around to this race, and they'd be, Sullivan did the sprint and Porter did the sprint, and it was like, okay, when this is how you transition, and me actually setting up their transitions for them. So
Right.
it was a little different dynamic this time. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think
good.
he had a secret plan that I didn't know about.
Yeah, Sully, did you have a tactics? I mean, obviously you know the strengths of your dad, and so did you have a game plan going into that, or what was your thoughts going into nationals?
I didn't really have too much of a game plan because I mean, it was probably 8 weeks before that did I really start swimming and training specifically for triathlon. And so I didn't really know what to expect from myself. And so I just kind of went into it with an open mind, but knew I could be competitive, and I was in the best shape for that race that had ever been in my life so far. So yeah.
Nice. And tell the viewers, how did the race transpire? Meaning, who came out of the water first? What happened on the bike? And obviously for the run, how did it all shake out? And then ultimately the result.
Yeah, so I mean, coming out of the water, I had a very good swim, and so I was, I think, 2 minutes ahead of my dad. Was it that maybe a minute?
Hey, I mean, let's not. We don't need to go too far in that direction. I mean,
And,
maybe 130.
uh, yeah, then getting on the bike, I kind of moved into the lead pretty early, and just kind of pushed hard from the front and ended up getting a flat tire with I don't know, 3 or so miles left, maybe, no, yeah. And so I tried to fix it. I had like probably 5 to 10 psi and just rode out the rest of the way. And by the end of the last descent, my dad had caught me, and so we kind of entered T2 pretty much together, and
Wow.
so that was pretty cool. And then I outran him, but so I ended up winning. Yeah.
That's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
How do you
And
flat going uphill? We'll have to talk to your mechanic. Seems suspicious.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's the off-road style of racing, anything can happen, especially on that mountain bike. It only takes one small flat or a slow leak in your front or back tire, and where you think you had the lead, next thing you know, now it's a runoff. And after that, it's fitness and guts and emotion, and in this case, what a debut. Wow, first ever pro race and you win national title.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's really cool. Good for you.
Well, Sullivan, looking forward here. What are some of your key competitions this year, and what does your schedule look like?
Yeah, I've quite a dense race schedule, but I've got kind of a draft legal goal and then an Xterra goal. I really want to qualify for Junior Worlds, that in Germany, and then for Xterra, I'll be doing the World Tour, and so I'll be doing like 5 Xterras.
Wow. Does
Heavy,
that tour,
heavy.
are you going to be coming up to Canada, or what's the scoop with that?
No, I probably won't, but no, I'll be doing, I think, 3 races in Europe, and then
Wow, good.
Mountain and Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get a Canadian race on the World Cup schedule for sure.
Yeah, we got to get that. Well, we're working on that. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in the
And
works.
then Sully, you obviously intend to do Xterra Worlds as well, heading back to Italy, I suspect.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that this year. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
nice.
it sounds like a ton of kind of building experience and a lot of international travel. Do you have any clear expectations, or is it more about the experience and the just learning from the races. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to perform well and be competitive, but I think um, I'm pretty young, and so I think just gaining experience is pretty important. And it kind of will go into uh, trying to learn from every race.
Yeah. And do you feel your strength is the run? Do you find that of the three disciplines, when you compare to the rest of your age group or now professionals, is your weapon the run, do you think, or are you pretty balanced all the way across the board, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I come from a mostly running background, but I would say biking and running are kind of my strengths. Yeah, yeah.
Don't let them know about your weaknesses.
There you go. But I mean, it sounds like your swim has developed to the point where if you're getting ahead of your dad on the swim, and your dad's a great swimmer as well, but it sounds like you're not going to lose too much time versus the rest of the international pros, and then obviously chip away on the bike and then try to attack on the run. So it's good to see that you're swimming, despite the fact that I don't think you swim a ton. Like it sounds like again your history of swimming has just been sort of sporadic. And again, another impressive accolade is the fact that you can pick that sport up pretty quick and be competitive. So that's really impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, no, the swimming training's definitely been picking up. So yeah, it's improving.
I
Yeah, and
think
there's
what's interesting about racing the different formats is that a strength in one format could be a weakness in another, and you could be for example, the strongest, technically in a ITU race, but not technically on the mountain bike, or you could be a very fast flat runner, or not as strong up hills, or the other way around. So I think there's so many dynamics, and even one race to the next, it can change. So that'll be exciting to see how this works in kind of building a better, more well-rounded athlete.
yeah. And would you both, what would you think would be the best Xterra course, meaning a very, very technical mountain bike or something that's more power and strength? What do you guys think is your preference for a world championship, for instance?
Sullivan, what do you think?
I don't know. I like climbing. Uh, I
Yeah.
thrive climbing, so I think a course with some steep climbing, long sustained, would be ideal for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder where that comes from.
Yeah.
That's always been my wheelhouse, is the longer, more sustained climb, the better. And for me, it doesn't matter as much the grade,
Yeah.
but long, sustained, big mountain courses are what I'm best at. But I've always said from the very early on in my career, like you want to be able or capable of winning on any course. So you
Right.
want to have the skill set to perform on a twisty, turny, punchy technical course and also a big mountain course. And you want to have speed and power and get that balance just right.
Yeah.
And you'll see
Yeah.
it
Because
all.
that was always the criticism with some of these Xterra courses is that that mountain bike really wasn't a mountain bike, meaning it was pretty much any road cyclist could go out and rent a classic hardtail bike and do quite well. And then, of course, then there was more of a not an uproar, but hey, let's try to make the mountain bike a little more technical so that the pure off-road triathletes have not an advantage, but it seems like more characteristics of an off-road triathlon. So that's kind of what I was thinking too. Is just you guys are grown up in Colorado and great mountain bikers. One would think that the more technical and difficult the bike is, the more that you guys would have an advantage. So
It depends on if you mean Canadian technical or
yeah, no kidding.
and there's,
Yeah,
South American technical. There's, so yeah, that's what's cool about the sport. Lots of different
yeah,
courses, and it means different things to different people, I think.
yeah. That's cool. Yeah,
Well, thank you, Sullivan and Cal. We should probably get a wrap on this, but it'll be a whole lot of fun this season, and we'll all be following.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Except
and good
maybe
luck
me,
with.
it might not be following.
Yeah, exactly. There could be some quiet breakfasts for you two going into this new season. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sully.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Josiah.
Thanks, Cal.
All right.